Today we are doing another short. I do feel better, so I might actually just continue Dead by Daylight reviews. Short. So I do look forward to that. Let me just rename the stream as usual. Same idiot, different day. So yesterday I was talking about this particular video. Shit, I opened up the Nox recorder. This particular video, those of you that watched yesterday's video should recognize this. This particular Bubba stirring video, Survivor standing outside of window. This guy gets mad at Survivor staring at window and face camps her until she disconnects. We went over the different things said and all of that, which particularly this dummy right here that said that it's a strat to face camp people. But if you remember, I later on said that face camping is against terms of service, which it is. Face camping falls under multiple categories: exploitation, body blocking, and griefing. It falls under 3 different subcategories. You can go to Behavior's website and you can find all of these informations if you follow the correct links. Well, I think they moved it to their forum now. But you can find this information by doing a basic search. It has a list of everything that is bannable and what everything is under a specific list. Just like Rocket League and everything else has different things. Those are just subcategories that you see when they pop up. When you go to ban somebody, you have like 5 different subcategories. Those 5 subcategories have a lot of things underneath them that covers that particular style of play. Behavior wants to know, are they exploiting the game, like cheating, things like that. They want to know if they're griefing or trolling or anything like that, face camping or body blocking on purpose to get you killed, etc., etc. They want to know what category it falls under so they know, the people that are actually cheating and ruining the game that match. They can get a report, go in, and possibly fix that issue if multiple reports are seen. Those of you that don't know, and this idiot, which before I even read his reply and all that, you can read it if you want. The reason why people don't get banned for face camping or anything else is to actually report somebody on Dead by Daylight. You have to get a video recording, go to a website, which I have in my tools, go to a specific website, submit your report, and submit the video before Behavior will take the offense seriously. So the guy that this person face camped probably doesn't even know how to do all of that. But if he was to take this video evidence and put it in the website and do it, I'm not going to, because it didn't personally happen to me and I don't necessarily care. If that guy, didn't want to report him or anything like that, then that's kind of the end of that situation. Nobody else really needs to. But if I wanted to be a dick, I could pull his YouTube video, send it to Behavior with a report on the end of it, and within the next 2 weeks, that guy would possibly get dinged. Generally, they do get dinged in some way, shape, or form. It'll probably only end up being like a day ban or something like that. But I mean, like I said, that's a day worth of content that he can't do. and he'll keep himself accountable for the things that he wants to do as a YouTuber or a streamer of Dead by Daylight. The game gets its popularities by streamers and content creators and things like that. And then the occasional killer that they put out brings in more crowd to play the game and things like that. But when you have people that the YouTube algorithm are hitting rather hard, showing face camping and being a dick and things like that, especially when, the new Scream movie and all of this other bull crap that could potentially come out and bring people in, it's not too savvy for business. Content creators should know if you're creating content for a game that you like, you shouldn't be showing the game in negative light when, they're pushing for, the stars. They got the new Scream movie coming out, they have the Ring chapter coming out, and a whole bunch of other horror things that could string together and increase, the amount of players. Ain't nobody gonna come if they see that, oh, well, what's gonna happen to me when I play this fucking game is I'm going to be thrown on a hook and somebody's just going to stand in front of me because I looked at them. You don't know how many people you're going to negatively affect by doing that. Also, did this guy really like his own post? What a weirdo. Oh no, that's my own post. Somebody else liked it. I thought that was Alex. I was like, ain't nobody liking his post because he's completely wrong. Anyway, I pointed out to him that face camping is against terms of service. Camping is fine if you hook somebody and you stay in the general area to intercept survivors pulling people off hooks. That is 110% fine. Face camping, though, like on the video where he's literally standing in her hitbox, is not fine under any essence of the word. That is against terms of service completely. Done. As I said, end of story. When I said end of story, I meant don't fucking comment back some bullshit. Because I know I am 100% right because I went and I read the shit. I do Dead by Daylight reviews. I know a lot about behavior as a company. I know a lot about behaviors, terms of service, and everything like that because I need to, being a reviewer of creations and things like that. Because when I review things, if somebody has a power of making like a double and they want to stand in both doors so a survivor can't escape, or if that's exploitable, I need to bring that to a creator's attention that, hey, your particular perk can be used to exploit and break terms of service. So they can try to design a way, against that, or at least to minimize that happening. So yeah, Mr. Dumb, I do know that face camping is against terms of service because I've done extensive research on Dead by Daylight. I didn't do a stupid Google search and then say, oh, I'm going to keep scrolling till I find an answer that says face camping ain't bannable, and then there, I'm going to take it and I'm going to fire it back at this guy and say he's wrong. Like, that's not how it works. Just because somebody on the internet says that it's not true doesn't mean shit. Your reasoning for the entire thing don't make sense and don't mean shit. Literally put end of story for a reason. That's the end of the story. There is no fighting back. There is no anything like that. Face camping is 100% against terms of service. And they could ban him. End of story. That's it. There ain't no no. Done. Done. Nothing he could do. Done. Face camping is not a strat. It is a blatant disregard for game rules, and I believe that it should be punished regardless. They put it down as a bannable offense. behavior. The company, the designer of the games, has said that that's a bannable offense. If they didn't want it there, they would have removed it or never put it there, and they would have just said, fuck it, dude, let them face camp. They're not getting much value out of it, or whatever the hell else this guy said up there. They're not getting any real value out of it. Survivors know how to play around it. Let's just leave it off the list. Unfortunately, no, it is on that particular list. To have some idiot try to tell me otherwise when I literally am the one who took the time to look through all of their terms of service and shit. At least the bannable offense list. I didn't read the entire terms of service. I looked at the bannable offense list. Again, get a little educated before you start defending such shameful play. If you want to defend somebody for doing something 100% wrong, you had better be a lawyer and you had better know, state laws and shit like that, or you better be, educated in the art of deception to defend somebody. Because if you're not, you're just going to make the situation worse for them. After that, you would have thought that this guy would have shut the hell up or said, my bad. But no, he decides to go little kid grade school on me and say, believe it or not, tons of people have face camp and never got banned. Does that make it right? Does that make it right? Because tons of people do something, does it make it right? Does it make it legal? Tons of people do drugs every day and don't get caught. Does it make it right? No. Tons of people kill people every day and don't get caught. Does it make it right? No. My example down below, tons of people bully a particular kid in school on a daily basis every day. Does it make it right? No. Just because people are doing it and not getting punished for it doesn't make it right. It's sort of a morale thing because behavior don't have the time to send paid moderators into every games and look and say, is this guy face camping? Yeah, I think this guy's face camping. Maybe we need to ban this guy. No, nobody's going to do that. That's why people don't get banned. They put it in their rules to where if it becomes a problem and they need something to get you on, like police officers and shit like that, when they need something to get you on and they eventually ban you for something, they have a leg to stand on. Just like stealing. Stealing is wrong, but everybody knows that one store that people steal from that they don't get caught from. Eventually, the store is going to care because it's either going to become an apparent problem and a lot of people are going to start stealing from it, aka a lot of people are going to start face camping, and they're going to have to take attention on it instead of write that shit off on their taxes. And when that day comes and a dumb perk or a dumb system gets implemented into the game, to where if you're X amount of distance between, by a survivor, besides losing points, by the way, you do lose points for being even near a survivor while they're getting unhooked. That is a thing to try to prevent you from doing that. That's them saying, hey, maybe not be so close to a survivor while they're being unhooked. Just another indicator of, hey, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. And the more you stand and do all of that stuff, the more negatives you get. But if it becomes that bad of an issue and every killer just starts, face camping and things like that, and it becomes, the popular thing in the game, there will be perks and additions to the game to prevent that. Right now, it isn't that huge of a problem because they have a cheater problem going on. People, they have an entire group. Excuse me. They have an entire group right now going around on server the server, targeting Twitch TV people and hacking, cheating, holding the game hostage, doing all kinds of other crap. That's what they're working on stopping right now. They don't have the time, money, nor desire at the moment to stop face campers. They just expect people to have the morality to not do it. But you know, some people can't help themselves. Like these guys. They want to face camp. They want to hurt the survivor that hurt them. Oh, woe is me. I got flashlighted. Woe is me. I got stared at as I came out of the basement. Woe is me. I got a gang squad. Woe is me. I got decisive. Woe is me. I'm a little bitch and I can't handle any type of pressure, so I shouldn't even be playing killer side. I should just find a better game to play. Woe is me. I'm too much of a sensitive bitch to be on the internet. Woe is me. Don't play killer side if you can't take a little pushback. Don't play survivor side if you can't take a little pushback. There's no need to face camp somebody and break a terms of service because a survivor irritated you or made you mad. If the survivors are making the killer mad, the survivors are doing their job. You're supposed to taunt the killer. You're supposed to do everything in your power to pull that killer's particular attention away from the other survivors. And the better you do it, the better you are in the long run. So the people that body block killers and run out in front of them, flashlight behind the killer, which people call toxic, it's them trying to get your attention. They can't yell at you and say, hey, come chase me. So they click, click, click to try to get your attention. It's not against terms of service, so it's fun. The only thing that's questionable about survivors, which I don't necessarily have a problem with it, even when I'm playing killer, and for those of you ask, I do play killer and survivor equally. I play everything in the game equally. I've played this game since way, way, way back when. I am an OG DVD player. To have this new dumbass try to tell me something that I already know. Oh boy. I just love it. How people can be. Believe it or not, tons of people have face camp and never got banned. Not once. Yeah, but you're not thinking about the business aspect of things. Who the fuck would waste money to hire a moderator to go in and look at every match? Which is going to add another connection in, which is going to increase latency and things like that. And the expensive on the other end of that, because you have another connection, the server expense and all of that is going to go up as well. You might think that it's nothing, but just keep in mind it takes well over $1 million to maintain a server for a year. So anybody who owns an actual server and maintains it cost about $1 million a year. They then host their servers to different companies and things like that. Or the company's rich enough to, you know, have their own servers. And that's how this whole chain of things go. So whether or not Behavior owns the server or rents the server, well, Dead by Daylight isn't that popular. So they obviously are renting server space. The more and more things that are added to it pushes up their bill towards the end of the year. The main server owner is paying over $1 million to maintain this. And all of the server space they rent out, they have to charge people enough money to where they're going to make a profit at the end and be able to maintain their servers and things like that. They are expensive to uphold. And dumbasses, these people that want to fucking base camp and do all the exploits and the hackers and the cheaters and all of that, that's why it's bullshit when you hack. People have to go out and buy these particular games. The company has to buy the server space, and money on top of money on top of money is flowing to keep everything going. And then here you are floating around, cheating, face camping, hacking, things like that. That's why it's disrespectful. Not only are you negatively affecting the player base, you're negatively affecting the servers and everything else too. Shit gets expensive. If you have somebody going on to every server you own, executing a bunch of commands and making the server work overtime. Some people just, non-discreetly cheat. They get a speed boost here or there, very non-discreet. Other people want to go out and they want to make a show about it, They want to make the server lag. They want to, spawn in 1,000 explosives and do all kinds of other crazy shit and really push how the server runs up. Not a very savvy thing to do. Believe it or not, tons of people have got face camp and never been banned, not once. I'm aware of that, dumbass. I'm aware that people face camp all the time. The thing is, most people that face camp don't own a YouTube channel, don't own any type of influence or anything like that. Keep that in mind. The reason I'm commenting on this particular person is because they've been hitting the algorithm here lately and having such disgraceful play go to your fans and things like that. One should rub them negatively and they should talk shit to you, which some people do. And this is a very negative experience for the creator. But then you have dumbasses that I guess have been around for a while that will protect him no matter what he does wrong. He could probably shoot somebody live on stream and you'd be like, oh, well, it's probably just fake. It's not really against the law because they were in another country and then he flew back over to the United States. So it's all fine. And, a lot of people do this and get away with it. So, it's like, stop making excuses for something that's legitimately wrong. It's wrong. Not supposed to be done. It's against terms of service. That's the end of the story. Quit replying back. Quit being uppity. Quit being a little bitch about it. Accept that you were wrong and move on. I was wrong. Move on. I was wrong. Move on. Or tell yourself you were wrong and then stop replying back. Because this is the last time I'm going to reply back to you. I replied back down there. That's the last time I'm replying back to this dumbass. He tries to reply back to me again. Well, I'll reply one more time. He tries to reply back to me again. I'm going to state the same thing that I stated before. Base camping is against terms of service. Look it up. And then I'm going to block him. To where I don't have to get his notifications and shit up in my inbox anymore. Only thing I pointed out was face camping is against terms of service. It is a blatant disregard for game rules, and you should be punished for it. And get a little educated on DBD before you start defending people for such shameful play. Shameful play. Faith camping is shameful because it's against terms of service. Everything that I said here, as generally when I reply back on somebody, I make sure this is 100% true. So when people try to come back and argue with me, I can just shut them down immediately. It's done. There is no argument. There is no nothing. Only thing I've stated was facts. I never put any type of things in there that can be misconstrued as anything else. All facts. If you do something against terms of service, you should be punished regardless of who you are. That's simple. All wrote in the terms of service. Believe it or not, tons of people at face camp and never got banned, not once. Then he tries to preface it, I'd rather not face camp, so I'm not on the face camping side and I'm saying that you shouldn't do it, but a lot of people do it, you know what I'm saying? No, that's called you being defensive and not trying to own up to your fucking mistake, brother. Own up to your mistake. Quit being a little bitch about it. I'd rather not face camp, but I seen tunes who do it, and guess what? No ban. There's not a ban going on because behavior could care less. You know, if somebody gets 1,000, you know, a lot of face camping offenses in on their account, then behavior will start going in and doing whatever needs to be done. For example, if this dumbass was to go in and camp for a match, behavior does not care. They also have what is called leniency. The first time you break a terms of service, generally they will let it go. Even if it's brought to their attention that you face camped an entire lobby. And they see the progress, or they report and all of that. They see that it's the first time somebody's ever reported you for face camping. They sometimes show leniency. Because again, face camping isn't something they're worried about. They're worried about cheating and hackers right now. Because you have a thing going around right now. They could care less. Oh, well, it's just face camping. You know, we'll handle this at a later date if it becomes a problem. You put it to the side. And if he doesn't get reported again for face camping, then that report goes away. If he continues to get reported for face camping, then that report goes back in, a file is made, and then action's taken upon it. Like working at a job. The first time you fuck up and make a mistake, you generally don't get fired. Unless you made like a mistake. You know what I'm saying? You generally will just write you up or give you a verbal warning or something like that and then send you back on your way. People have leniency and they know what's important and needs to be fired immediately versus what is something they can push to the side and worry about later on. Simple. But what gets me funny is no, it's not against the terms of service, but nothing in there says face camping is bannable. Actually, generally, you would be correct when it comes to situations like that. It would generally, you would be correct saying face camping isn't specifically listed in the rules, but it does fall under a category, so it's assumed that it's apparent. However, face camping was such a problem in the past, it actually is in there specifically that says face camping. Specifically that says face camping. There is an article on behavior about it. Specifically about it. You could have said any other word besides face camping and you would have been correct. But face camping is specifically listed there. So you're even more of an idiot, and I can tell you didn't do the research. Now, let's say the word face camping on an alternate universe, completely alternate universe, isn't listed in this particular terms of service, which it is. Face camping is still bannable, even if they don't specifically say that it's bannable. It still falls under the same three categories. You're exploiting the game, aka you're standing on top of a survivor so the other survivors cannot unhook that survivor. That is an exploit. You are trolling. You are body blocking. You are griefing. Which standing on top of somebody and doing everything like that, how he's doing, is harassment because, you know, you can see his perspective and shit in the video. That's harassment, which is more than bannable because that falls under all kinds of other types of laws and things like that. Bullying, etc., etc., more specifically cyberbullying, but I'm not going to go into that. That's another reason why face camping and things like that is been highlighted as bannable because of laws. So even if face camping isn't listed, which it is, face camping in general still covers more than one of those categories you can report somebody for. So even still, you're wrong. And I don't know how you're trying to finagle this for you to be right, because you're never going to be right, because I know that it's listed there and specifically says that it is a bannable offense. So, again, stop flapping your gums and trying to protect your ego. And try to build your ego up by saying you were wrong. How hard is it to say, I was wrong? Gotta be one of those Gen Zs or something, because I'm telling you, people just don't want to own up to their mistakes, and they will fight and fight and fight and fight. Like, if I'm genuinely wrong about something, you bring it to my attention and you give me the supporting evidence saying that everything I said is completely wrong. I own up to it. Now, I'm not always going to be nice about owning up to it, but I will own up to it. Like, for instance, the last thing that happened was I didn't think that, well, I mean, I was still right about that, but I was half wrong. So I didn't think the game could handle Gritty's little wave attack, his Asha wave attack, could render in time for the particular hits and all of that that he was doing. And I suggested that he made it render in farther away by giving it a minimum distance at which it could not hit. That gives it time to render, formulate, get shot out, and then, you know, disappear. If he just changed the minimum so it didn't have to spawn in immediately in front of him and then go. As he's charging up, it could spawn in at a distance. And as the animation gets to where, you know, the hit zone is, the full animation should be, for the most part, spawned in. And then it would go from a distance as opposed to happen to spawn it in right in front of you, shoot it out, and then make it disappear. Didn't listen to what I said, but instead he came back at me with, well, the Huntress's hatchets and all of that can go 25, 30, or something like that miles per hour. And he said it twice to me. And I was like, yeah, okay. That shows that objects can spawn in, you know, fast and things like that. But I'm already aware because somebody already corrected me during the stream. And while I was reading comments and all of that, somebody already corrected me. Cool. I get that much. The thing is, the Huntress's hatchets are like 1 pixel things. The Trickster's throwing knives, they are these very small, easy to render in things. And if the Huntress is standing near you, the survivor actually won't even see the hatchet be thrown. She will just swing her arm, and then the hatchet will just explode on the end of the survivor. So the hatchet doesn't actually completely render in cases like that. They just show the hatchet hitting the survivor, which was probably already preloaded. when that happens. He completely missed me talking about having such this big wave, tall wave vertical attack, moving at an insane speed, isn't going to be able to spawn in time. You're moving it too fast for it to spawn in everything you're envisioning, then for it to go, get a survivor or whatever, go to its end in 1.5 seconds, and then disappear. By the time the system's rendered it, they have to unrender it and unload it. So that's going to be an issue. And to this day, I don't think he's ever changed it or done anything to get rid of that issue. So, yes, I did own up and say that, you're right. The Huntress' hatchets do travel at like 30 miles per hour, and all of that. So it is possible to render in small objects moving at that particular speed. However, you missed the point that it's a big object. And that's what I was trying to bring his attention. But instead of listening to what I'm saying, the only thing he was focused on is proving me wrong. And when it comes to Critty, that is the thing that he's been doing here recently that has been starting to get me to wanting to get back in the area of where I'm thinking about just skipping some of his newer reviews or his concepts and things like that to start skipping them again. Yes, you put in a lot of work to the concept and you think the concept is great and you don't want to change it, etc., etc. How do you think behavior feels when they put 6 months into a concept and to making it all sparkly and all of that, and survivors, players, killers, all of them play that particular killer like one time and then they throw that shit in the trash. Or they say that they hate this particular concept that they come out with, or all of the other things, and they have to change their game up. Once it hits PTB, it's all subject to change. Even behaviors, ideas that they thought were pristine get changed. And it adapts, and it changes, and it adapts, and it changes, and it adapts. And it ends up a conglomeration of things that it was before. No matter how good you think you are and how perfect you think something is, there's always a better version of it. And as a creator, you have to realize that even if you spend 10 years on a particular project, you're still going to have issues, obvious issues. There's going to be things that you just overlook and never really thought about that pop up. And if you can't accept it, don't create. It is that simple. As I stated before, we can be friends, we can be cool, we can shoot the shit, etc., etc. But keep in mind that I'm not going to be that guy, I didn't know, I haven't known you since, I was little. You weren't part of my childhood. You weren't, part of my family or anything like that. You can be part of the community. We can be cool. We can be, up and at 'em, talk to everybody about it. But that's kind of the end of the line. Maybe if I know you for a while and, you end up coming, to the state that I live in or something like that, maybe we can meet up, have a beer, something like that, Or I can make you a moderator or something like that if you stop by all the time. That's building of a relationship from start to finish. You know, these relationships with people you have to build in order to get that push and or pull. And to have you keep coming into my streams. And yes, this is directed straight to you, Mr. Critty. And you have you keep coming into my streams despite me asking you 2, 3, 4, 5 times to, hey, if you got a problem, leave a comment on the video. Don't timestamp me and say everything that I'm saying is incorrect. But leave a comment on the video asking me to look at something. Send me a message on Discord if you want to go into the technicals. Hey Q, I seen the video. And I know you said something about render problems, but the huntresses, hatchets, and all of that can render end at 30, so it's possible, you know? Could you relook at this for me or give me your advice on it or something like that? You ain't gotta come in and be like, well, the huntresses hatchets are 25 meters per second and at full charge are like 30 meters per second, or it's like 30 or 35 or whatever it was. So it's possible. And then try to justify you being right when you missed the entirety of the thing. Yeah, you stated that it could spawn in and all of that, a small object like a hatchet, but you still haven't fixed the issue that I was talking about. Having this huge wave, it only gets bigger as it charges up. Huge vertical wave, and now wider as it charges up, spawn in 1.5 seconds, and then unload. Spawn in, shoot, and unload in 1.5 seconds. You still ain't said anything about that issue. You're very quick. Like, as soon as you listen to what I said, you looked up supporting things to prove yourself right. You were so quick to prove me wrong that you didn't even consider any of the other alternatives in front of you. And that's the issue that we have, Mr. Critty. That is the issue that we have. If I say something, whether it's right, wrong, partially right, whatever, I'm saying it for a reason. There is a reason behind it. I've thought something through, albeit not a super long time, but I've given it some thought. And I said it to try to get your attention on something. Not for you to just come back and shoot back. If I say something, take time to think about it. What could he mean by that? What does he mean that it can't spawn in time? Huntress's hatchets can spawn in and all of that. I wonder what he's talking about. And if you can't figure out the answer, aka the thing you're trying to spawn in versus the thing that's spawning in, is two completely different sizes and take two different types of renders and graphics, etc., etc., then ask me, what do you mean by this can't spawn in time? Ask me to elaborate on what I'm talking about. Give me the situation you're stuck in. You say that it can't spawn in, but I see that Huntress has hatchets and all of that. Can go about 30 meters per second, so I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. And I will happily elaborate on anything that I've said to try and get you to understand. That's the part of being a lecturer comes into play. Just trust me, you ain't the only person. Hello, Galanonim. That you ain't the only person that has tried to call me out on something that I already have reasoned in my mind. And me have to go back in and understand or explain something that I'm already in the middle of trying to explain. Then when I try to explain it to them, they're so in their mind about them being right and all of that that they don't even listen to what I say. So it ends up me being a waste of my time, which irritates me because you're the one who engaged me in conversation. It ends up being a waste of your time because you're not listening to what I'm saying. And it's like, why are you here then? If you're not here to have a civil discussion, why are you here? Just to say that I'm wrong and then leave? If that's the case, I'd rather you not show up at all. But moving on. His reasoning to where face camping is not against the terms of service. He said if it was, so many streamers would be banned by now. That's his reasoning. It's not against the terms of service because if it was, a whole bunch of streamers would be banned by now. Well, you've already said at the top, believe it or not, tons of people are face camp and have never gotten banned. Why are you repeating yourself and adding in the example of streamers to try to protect specifically him? Face camping is against terms of service. And you're again doubling down on that childhood. Well, if it was the wrong thing to do, a lot of people would have gotten in trouble for it. Like I said, if a lot of people steal from the same store, it doesn't make it right. If a lot of people bully a particular kid and the kid says nothing about it or none of the adults or anything do anything about it, doesn't make it right. Behavior has a cheating epidemic out right now to where they're trying to loosen that up. There's been the cheating epidemic. When they fought the cheating epidemic, DDoS attacks and everything like that started happening, and they've been designing systems around that to try and combat all of these cheaters that just want to watch the world burn. They have their hands tied right now. They don't care about face campers because it's a minor offense. You're not cheating, you're just breaking terms of service, and it's a very minor terms of service. If somebody wants to make the video report, go to the website and send it in, you better bet your sweet dippy most of those streamers would have gotten bopped from it. But since nobody ever reports face campers, you gotta realize when somebody gets face camped, not a lot of people report that shit. They just end it and they go to the next game angry. A lot of people don't go down and send reports. So, most of those reports that could be potential don't even happen. And the ones that do don't know the proper categories or anything like that. So they just send a random report saying face camping and they send it on. Not a lot of people go out of their time to take video proof, send it to the particular website you need to send it to get these people bopped. I guarantee you, if a lot more people do, which behavior pays more attention to that website than our actual reporting system, those streamers that you're talking about would have definitely been bought by now. They don't advocate that website to people. You just have to know that it exists to get those reports out. You have to do some research and you have to look. But then he says, but guess what, bud? They are not maybe. You need to do some research. I need to do some research on something that I've already done research on. I know I'm 100% right. This is the classic grade school argument. When you have somebody that isn't intelligent enough to make any type of argument or statement on their own, they try to throw your own words back at you. Guess what? It doesn't mean a damn thing. I'm the one that said the words. My words can't hurt me. My words were directed at you. If you push them back at me, it's going to be like, yeah, I understand the words that I said. Yeah. Maybe I need to do some research. Yeah, I did do the research. You're not making a logical statement here, trying to throw my words back at me. You're just accepting defeat at this point. You said your 2 cents dummy, and then here you are sitting in front of me saying that I need to do research. I've done the research, buddy. I know that I'm 100% right. There's no need for you to be sitting here trying to push back at me. I never said anything except for face camping is against terms of service, and to do a little more educated on DBD before you start defending somebody for such shameful play. The shameful play is directed towards the streamer. That's an insult to him, not to you, sir. Get educated before you start defending people. You need to be educated if you ever want to decide to defend somebody, or you're going to make their situation worse. That's why lawyers have to go through and pass the bar exam and all of that. They have to be educated on defending somebody. You wouldn't ask your friend to defend you in court. No, he's gonna get you sent to jail. He doesn't know the laws and everything. Again, this guy trying to throw my words back at me because that's what juvenile children do to try to win an argument. Oh, well, he called me an idiot, so I need to point something out that he's wrong about and then call him an idiot and throw his words back at him. It's not how it works when you get into the big leagues, dog. You throw somebody's words back at them, they're going to take those words you threw back at them, they're going to amplify it, and then they're going to blast you out of the sky. It's not how it works in the big leagues, dog. I love when people try throwing my words back at me, because that just allows me to pick them apart even more thoroughly. Laughing my ass off, plus the guy was memeing. Okay, again, we're to this. Just because the guy was memeing doesn't make it right. The person on the hook doesn't know that he was memeing. The person on the hook just knows this Bubba came out of the basement, tunneled them, specifically chased them, tunneled them, took them to the basement, and then hook camped them. 99% of the time, you are face camped and Dead by Daylight is because the killer's gotten mad at you for whatever reason. How the fuck is this survivor supposed to know that he was memeing her? The guy was just memeing her. That don't make it okay. We were just memeing the little Timmy on the playground. We were just memeing him. We weren't bullying him. We were just memeing him. It's still bullying. It's still a problem. Everything that this guy has said, he's literally trying to cover up something that just isn't right. Laughing my ass off, plus the guy was memeing her. She chose to kill herself on hook. If anyone would have gotten banned, it would be her for purposely losing the game or killing herself on hook. Really? Now, your third form of argument, you were going to try to turn the situation on the victim. Really? Really? We're going to turn this entire situation on the victim now. That is your last course of action in an argument. Everybody else is doing it. Maybe you need to do some research. Streamers would have been banned. It's obviously not a thing. The guy was just memeing. Plus, she should be the one to get banned for purposely losing the game. What do you mean? The killer was breaking terms of service. She didn't break any terms of service for being on hook and trying to escape and then leaving. If she would have disconnected, which I mean she did do, that's against the terms of service. Killing herself on hook does nothing, but she did disconnect. I will give you that. Is that I'm very impartial. I'm not keeping a firm stance. The only thing I'm keeping a firm stance on is anything that's against terms of service. But why are you trying to turn this on the victim and trying to deflect the heat that's coming at you by saying, well, she should get DC'd as well, or she should get banned as well? Why are we turning this on the victim now? That's not what I originally talked about. I talked about that the face camping is against the terms of service. I never once said anything about DCing. DCing is the consequence to a terms of service break. If somebody plays unfair, of course the entire lobby's going to start playing unfair. That's how things devolve, and that's how humans work. If one thing, if the shit hits the fan, the shit hits the fan, so to say. But if anyone would have gotten banned, it'd be her for purposely losing the game for herself and DCing, not the killer. LOL. He even put LOL at the end because he knew his statement's full of shit. These are the signs that somebody's full of shit. Putting LOL at the end of a statement putting yeah, but yeah, things like that. You can see that people aren't 100% in agreement with their particular statement. And it's like, brother, you're literally not even supporting your own statements at this. Something about this writing style says that he would want to defend you than to discuss. That's exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to fight and he's using every tooth that he can pull to try to fight with. He's grasping for straws at this particular moment. So now it's not even an issue about the killer face camping her, which caused her to kill herself in DC. And he still says not the killer, LOL, even though the killer definitely should have got bopped. The survivor DCing is already going to get a ban. They're already going to be taken care of. The killer's not. I do agree with the survivor should have taken, should get bopped. She's going to, well, if it's her first, it's not going to do anything, but if it's more than her first, she's going to get a 15-minute matchmaking ban for DCing. She's going to get punished for something that this killer brought back by not allowing her to play her game. So even in this classic example that Alex is trying to bring up at this moment, I'm just calling him stupid, that stupid tried to bring up, the survivor is getting punished for DCing, and the killer that's face camping that's legitimately breaking terms of service. Nothing's going to happen to them. And now you're trying to deflect the situation over to this DCing survivor who's already been punished, not the killer. Then you try to put words in my mouth saying that next thing you're going to say is how Noad makes me a shit killer too, I'm guessing, eh? When the fuck have I ever brought Noad into this particular discussion? I stayed with one topic, face camping. Now you're going to throw words into my mouth and say that I'm going to call you a shit killer for using Noad. No, I'm going to call you a shit killer for being a shit killer. I'm going to call you a shit person for trying to defend a shameful killer. You are a very shit person. Your personality needs working on. You're very shitty. The way you talk to people, as Galanonim pointed out, the way you're defending somebody that's doing something wrong, you are a very shit person. I've never seen you part of a killer. I've never seen you run killer. I don't know what the fuck kind of killer you are. Now, if you run NOAD in every single build that you run, then the community's gonna call you a shit killer. But the thing is, people generally Floridian slip. He's trying to deflect from the fact that he's wrong, but he actually threw himself under the bus. He ended up Freudian slipping here. Freudian slipping here. The killer. Next thing you're gonna say is how using NOAD makes me a shit killer too, I'm guessing, eh? That's a Freudian slip. He thinks that he's purposely, that he thinks that he's a shit killer because he has to use NOAD. So I'm guessing he's new to the game or something. He already thinks that he's a shit killer because of it. And he's wanting me to harp on that because he is a shit killer. It's got nothing to do with NOAD. And I find that funny how that is how he exposes himself at the end here. I don't even have to say anything. I've never seen you play, so I have no opinion. But what you're saying here, you're literally calling yourself a shit killer and nobody's ever said anything about it. I never said anything about if the guy was a particularly good killer or anything like that. I said that this is a shameful play. He's actually a very good killer. He puts out a lot of shorts and I used to watch them. Very good. Very good shorts, very good killer. He knows his shit. However, this was shameful play. And this type of person condemns an entire person. I'm condemning just an act. One act of that person. I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything like that. I'm saying that he had shameful play in this particular scenario and he should be punished for it. That's all I said. The argument of something is bad, then why so many people use it is so weak. Exactly. We can say if murder is so bad, why so many people do it. Since when number of people matter when something is good and bad. See, that's that ratio shit that Gen Z's on right now. If a lot of people agree with it, they're right. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to use ratios, which is dumb as fuck to do with anybody that actually knows the facts. If I was a kid arguing with him, I probably wouldn't have, the knowledge or anything to put up, a good argument, and he'd walk all over me. Instead, he's getting walked on because he's trying to run ratios and things. It's amazing how people can defend anything, no matter how bad or disgusting. Exactly. That's what he's specifically saying is ratio. A lot of people do it, so it's fun. It's not fun. And he's never gonna understand that shit until he matures up. He's a fucking idiot. Somebody's either gonna put him in his place or he's gonna mature up. Hopefully he just matures out of it, because if somebody does put him in his place, it's gonna be a very bad experience. Very bad experience. But I just love how he throws out that I'm just going to assume that he's a shit killer. Like, I don't care what kind of killer you are. I don't care about you. You are misguided if you think I care enough about you. I'm just pointing out the fact that face camping is against terms of service. That is the only thing that I wanted to point out, and then he should get educated before he starts defending people for shameful play. That is life advice. Get educated before you start defending somebody. Know the details and everything about the situation before you start defending particular individuals over things that they've done. Don't just walk into a situation and be like, oh, well, this is the guy I watch every day. He's a pretty chill dude, That chill dude could be the murderer of the case, and you could be assisting a murder, which would make you an accomplice, and guess what? You going to jail too. Now, he comes down here and argues with this guy, which Bradley states that it's an awful strat that makes the killer lose points. Why are you defending shitty gameplay that ruins everyone's games, including the killers? Exactly. Why are you defending gameplay that ruins everybody's game? It ruins the killer's game, it ruins the survivor's game, and it's it's not a strat, it's against terms of service. It's just awful. His reply back to that is, if it's such an awful strat, then why do so many killers use it, eh? No. Most killers camp. Camping is allowed. Camping is a strategy. It's funny how he changed his words from face camping when he's not talking to me to just regular camping. It's funny how he can just switch sides and switch switches like that. No, no, no. If you want to talk about face camping, you stay consistent. You say if it's such an awful strat, then why do so many killers use it, huh? Yeah, face camping is annoying, but in like, no, 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 no. You can't just switch gears and go from defending face camping and then drop the face part of that. As I stated originally, my original post, uh, face camping is bannable. That's not my original post. Camping is fine, but face camping like that on video, they could immediately ban him. Camping is fun. He's arguing with me about face camping. He's arguing with everybody else about face camping. But now he's just going to slip the face part of that camping and harp about camping. This is a completely different subject about what Bradley was talking about and what I was talking about. We were both talking about face camping. If it's such an awful strat, then why do so many killers use it? Yeah, camping is annoying. Camping, I have no problems with. Behavior said camping is 110% fine. They just don't want you standing on top of survivors. Camping is 110% fine. Do you, boo. You do you. Then he says, yeah, camping is annoying, but in red rank, there is usually always a survivor nearby the hook who keeps looping around the survivors. What? In red rank, there's usually always a survivor nearby the hook who keeps looping around the survivors, and the game doesn't count that as proxying around a hook survivor half the time. Plus, you are barely lose points for camping a survivor. I camped with Basement Baba a whole game and still nearly got 30k blood points from it like I would in a normal game. Yeah, I guess less blood points than you normally agree, but it isn't as big as a drop, and that is long as hell. Now, this guy is not an iridescent red survivor or killer. He's not. He's not an eerie red. He is correct. You do barely lose points for camping a survivor, but that's kind of behavior slapping you in the face saying, hey, stop that. Hey, stop that. Hey, stop that. It is kind of a pseudo warning, you know, like a stop sign that behavior throws up. Saying that, hey, stop that. It is proximity to a unhooked survivor or hooked survivor, one of the two, is what it says in red. And it ticks down. I mean, it's very, very, very light. Like if you're running towards a hook and you see a survivor running towards an unhook and you're there and you're standing right next to them when it unhooks, you lose about 5 points. 5 points don't really mean much, but you are dinged for being close to a survivor getting an unhook. If you stand there all match, it'll probably only come up to maybe like 1,000 points if it's all match. Lost from that. Now, you definitely ain't gonna get no 30k blood points from it, like in a normal game. He never said anything about add-ons, he said in a normal game. You're not gonna get no 30k blood points basement camping Bubba and standing there. Because the game either is gonna be fast due to the snowball effect, or they're gonna do gens and they're gonna get out, and that's gonna be the end of it. So he's already exaggerating the situation and already lying at the start of his argument. I camped with Basement Baba a whole game and still got nearly 30k blood points. Bubba camping in the basement is a funny meme, but it's not face camping. You can save somebody in the basement that's getting camped by a Bubba. You really can. But if they're face camping, there's no saving them. That's the end of it. It isn't as big of a dragon blood point as you think, but like you're mad at me for defending shitty killers. Why are you defending shitty gameplay? Gameplay. Ain't nobody said that he was a shitty killer. He said that he had shitty gameplay. This guy has some sort of delusion. Shitty killers. Nobody here has said anything about the killer being shitty, because all of us have probably watched multiple videos of his. This guy is so delusional and so far off of his rocker that he's making up random shit and attaching them to people. I fucking love how delusional some people can be. You're mad at me for defending shitty killers. No, it's shitty gameplay. It's shameful gameplay. Read. Go to school and actually stay in school. Stop playing Dead by Daylight during class hours. You need this school, brother. You need this school. People always try to protect their argument by saying that the opposite side brings OP perks. This is true. That is true, which is probably coming up. But both killer and survivors mostly bring meta perks. Exactly. Okay, well, okay then. What about survivor meta perks like, decisive strike, dead hard, sprint? Why is sprint burst thrown in here as a meta perk? Borrowed time and unbreakable. Why is unbreakable thrown in there? And why is sprint burst? Actually, you only get 4 slots. Why are you even throwing out 5 perks? And what about them? Again, we're talking about terms of service breaks versus what's implemented into the game. And so on. It's annoying if I go a whole game just playing normally and this happens a lot, where it's just as annoying and boring. I just face camp. This happens a lot where it just is annoying and boring. Maybe you should stop using Bubba and pick a killer that's more towards you. If you have a problem with survivors doing, this and that and another, why not switch to clown? Where you have a way to keep slowing down survivors and things like that. Where if they do decisive you hit them with the bottle, you catch back up to them, you get another down. Maybe try your hand out with Legion, or maybe try your hand out and learn Nurse or something like that, or Ghostface or Oni or something like that. Bubba just ain't your jam. Yeah, you might like Bubba and all of that, but it's not your jam. Or better yet, switch games. If you don't want to deal with the gameplay of the particular game, Prop Night is a thing. Go to play that game where you can have all the fun that you want. Go play Prop Night. Get off Dead by Daylight. You're not welcome here if the only thing you're going to do is just face camp. You're not welcome here. You're breaking terms of service. Oh my god, I got hit with the decisive. Woe is me, woe is me. You know what happens when I get hit with another decisive? I spend the next 10 seconds redowning them and then rehook them and send them on their way. Don't take long to catch up to a survivor that uses decisive. It really don't. Unbreakable? Maybe stop slugging. Stop slugging and actually look around and then pick up and hook instead of slugging and running around. Unbreakable will not trigger. Borrowed time. Maybe hit the survivor that's going for the unhook and stop tunneling the one that just got unhooked. Down the one that's unhooking and then put them on the hook. Who the hell cares about borrowed time? You gotta use your brain during Dead by Daylight. It's not just a point and click game. Brain power. Sprint burst, a temporary burst of speed. You're having problem with somebody getting a temporary burst of speed. I mean, I know where your problem is. They're using borrowed time to get that person out of the basement. They're sprint bursting past you. You're wasting your chainsaw hit on somebody that has that set up. And then the other guy's dead hardened past you out of the basement. Well, guess what? Basement is a strong area, but when somebody that's on basement shouldn't be stuck in basement. At the end of the day, survivors are giving up perk slots for something that should only be able to be activated a couple of times a game. And you can't run them together either. You can't run sprint bursts and dead hard together. You can't use them one after another. I don't understand what you're talking about here. Unbreakable, don't slug. Borrowed time, hit the person unhooking. You're Bubba. You should be able to cut his ass down and rehook him immediately. Sprint burst, temporary boost in speed. Dead hard, a very short dash that generally allows you to get through one hit. Decisive strike. They can't even do generators when they have decisive. The moment they touch a generator, decisive disappears. Why are you chasing the person that has decisive strike that's just been hooked? Especially if they have borrowed time and everything else associated with them. Why are you chasing that survivor? Exactly, decisive is not OP at all. Why are you chasing the survivor that just got hooked? Why are you tunneling? Instead of getting the free down on the person that unhooked them that you know potentially has dead hard, but if you just wait, dead hard, just wait for them to use their dead hard and then bop them. You don't have to chainsaw up every time. Rev your chainsaw and then swiftly turn to the right. The chainsaw fake. They will waste their dead hard. Catch up to them and then cut them down. Wait for them to use their dead hard, or if you know they have dead hard, hit them with the mouse one, and then down them after you force their dead hard out of them the second time. You ain't got a chainsaw every time. This guy saying that he just face camps shows that he's just a piece of shit player. I ain't saying you're a bad killer, because obviously you're getting the face camps, so kill wise you're it, but you're a piece of shit player. You're a piece of shit person. Borrowed time is pretty strong, but it has to be in order to save teammate from insta hooking again. Exactly. Unbreakable is situational. Borrowed time actually ain't that strong if you know how to count. If you really are determined to read down that person, you're going to have to wait, the 12-second timer out. Count to 12 and then bonk them. As long as you can count and you're good at keeping track of time, you can easily follow them till their borrowed time drops and then bonk them again. Generally, it's faster to just down the person that unhooks them, but is what it is. All survivors and killers perks, even those strong ones, have their limitations. Exactly. Well, but boon totems is the other story. It should have cooldown. I originally thought placing boon totems and all of that should have a cooldown. But I think about how useful they actually are and how often people run boon totems, that it's actually not that great. Because the most talked about boon is Circle of Healing being an issue. The thing about it is Circle of Healing is the same as carrying around a med kit. you know? It's just a faster healing. It beats self-care. Well, self-care has the extra 16 seconds because you can self-care wherever you are. You can be hidden in the top of a building in a corner of a map and the killer will never find you unless they have nurses calling. That's why self-care has that penalty. It's because you can heal wherever you are, which gives it a little bit more value than Circle of Healing. Circle of Healing, you have to be within that boon radius. Killer is notified by sounds when the totem goes up, and they're notified by sound when they get near it. Boon totems corral survivors. So if you hit a survivor and they have no form of healing, you know where they're going to end up at, in the same area as a boon totem. So if you let the survivors go over to that particular area, they think they're going to heal, and then you walk over and you snuff that particular totem, Every survivor that's trying to heal now cannot heal. Their screams, moans of pains, injuries, and all of that still persist, and they're stuck in a partially healed state, and you know what area they're in. So then it's just kind of a listen, fine, and down, or if they try to run, they leave blood puddles and scratch marks and things like that. It should have CD. I believe also your own team can counter you by destroying totems. Yeah. If anybody's running inner strength, they can destroy totems, or anybody that just wants to destroy totems for fear of Noad or anything else could also get rid of them. When they first came out, they seemed OP, but now that they've actually been in rotation, not a lot of people run them because they realize how useless they are. It's good if you set up like a beacon of hope over in the distance that's near some generators, but not too far. But I mean, survivor time running all the way over to that totem, healing themselves, then running all the way back. They might as well have just put that, 16 plus double travel time into a generator and called it a day. And half the time, unless the totem's immediately next to a generator, I won't even heal. I'll just go from gen to gen. If the killer runs to me, that's what Dead Heart's for. I still get essentially the 2 hits. So it all comes piecemeal, back in the end. I know how to run my loops. I know what to do in just about every situation. And that's how we play. But this guy saying that because people run these particular perks, if I go a whole game just playing normal, and this happens a lot where it's just annoying and boring, I just face camp. Oh, survivors brought perks. It's time to face camp. Like, you're not even wanting to put forth the effort to play the game. Why are you playing the game? Find the game that actually interests you. I get thrill from somebody using Decisive Strike or Dead Hard at the perfect time or something like that. That shit makes me happy. It makes me want to, get back into the chase because you're actually challenging me. Because most chases, I just run over, slap that person down, and then I hook them and move on with life. It's not fun taking people out quickly and hooking them. But a short cooldown would be beneficial in my opinion, since it is a little frustrating for the killer to deal with this totem again after snuffing it out. It's sometimes like that, oh, you decided to pick a perk, well then time to punish you. Pretty much. Pretty much. And what I kind of find funny, because he is a camping bubba and all of that, I'm surprised he didn't throw up the perk Deliverance up there. Deliverance with Sprint Burst or Dead Hard is filthy when it comes to getting away from camping bubbas. Now, granted, you're going to be completely broken for a little bit of time, but whew, filthy. Then he says it's a strat, maybe, not a fun one, but it's something to put pressure. Plus, camping isn't even against the rules, LMAO. And he's correct. Camping isn't against the rules. Face camping is, but camping isn't. They literally give you perks too, and now there's derogatories. Camp, bro. I don't see why so many survivors fight on this so much. It's because this statement right here. I don't see why many survivors fight on this so much. I understand you're a killer main and rarely play survivor, if any play survivor. But it's statements like this. I don't see why so many survivors fight on this so much. Nobody can unhook anybody, so deliverance is not a problem for him. Nope. I guess he hadn't ran into it. He's obviously new to the game. and he's already killer sided. I don't care about camping. Camping's part of the game, and behavior even says that the killer should camp. That is in the game's design for a killer to camp. Base camping's against terms of service, but Dead by Daylight staff said that camping is the strategy. That's what the game is designed towards. That's what it's geared towards. That's how you're supposed to play the game. That is how they envision the game to be played. It was an interview over a behavior person, and he states specifically the game is designed for you to camp. You can go out running and gunning, or you can camp. Just don't face camp. I don't see why so many survivors fight on this so much. Because you're face camping, brother, which is against terms of service. That's why they're fighting you. If somebody fights you every time you face camp, then maybe there's something wrong with what you're doing. If you want to tunnel somebody, it is what it is. As long as you're not tunneling them multiple games. Like if you see somebody that gives you a hard time and you tunnel them and then face camp them, or if you tunnel them and then you go to another game and you get them again, which is very rare, and you tunnel them again, then it's against terms of service. That's griefing. But tunneling somebody out is no problem at all. It's part of the game. As long as it doesn't happen multiple times to the same person in a row, it's part of the game. But I don't understand why face camping. I don't see why survivors fight this so much, because you are breaking terms of service. Camping, people are going to complain just because, you're denying them being able to play the game. When you wait, 10, 15, 20 minutes per game, yeah, you're going to be pissed if at the beginning of the game you get camped. Yeah. But I mean, most killers find matches for the most part quickly, so they don't understand the survivor side of the grind finding a match. Like, I waited 10 to 20 minutes for this, depending on how many people you're playing with. The more people, the more time. It's like I waited 20 minutes to just get camped out the beginning of a match. Any survivor is going to be pissed, and killers don't understand that. That's why I try not to specifically tunnel anybody particularly out unless they are giving me an inherent issue. You know, if I'm trying to chase other survivors and you're body blocking me, flashlighting me, and pining for my attention, you best believe I'm gonna give you all of my attention. I'm gonna hook your ass. I'm gonna disappear into the shadows. As soon as somebody unhooks you, I'm coming back for that ass. I will come and stop chasing a survivor that I'm in pursuit with to turn around and walk back over to down you and hook you again. Because you want my attention. You kept body blocking me when I was trying to give you a fair game, so you will get all of my attention. But if everybody's chill, I just run and play, my part. The ranking system's changed to make it to where you don't have to face camp or do any of that. So while he's getting frustrated and face camping people for hitting him with the decisive and all of this other shit, he's not gaining any value. You've already picked up. Worst case scenario, you have a bad game, you've probably already gotten your safety pit to where you're not going to lose rank. The ranking system was changed for this reason, stupid. You don't need to get all 4 kills every time. You just need to play a strong killer game and you rank up. People need to get that through them heads. It's not like the old Dead by Daylight. You're literally ruining the game for people for no reason. That's why survivors are mad at you, stupid. Because you've already pipped up. There's no need for you to face camp this guy out because you're already ranking up. Go after somebody else. You've already done your little bit to do. Now you're just doing it just to be malicious. Now you're face camping and doing all of this because you got hit with the decisive, which is in the game. Stop being a spoiled little baby bitch and find another game to play. Go to prop night. Dead by Daylight community don't want you here. Leave. Goodbye. If it's a part of the game, man, just take it like a grain of salt and move on. It's what I do with Decisive Strike when people purposely jump into lockers and crap. No, you don't. You just said that you camp them. It's annoying, but I deal with it. No, no, you don't. You literally just said before this when people do that, you just face camp them. You don't deal with it. You don't deal with it. This contradictory little bitch literally just says he face camps. And then goes to, well, when it happens to me, I deal with it. No, you don't. You break down, you start crying to mommy, and then you hook the guy and you face camp him the rest of the game. You don't. You don't have the skill set to deal with it. You don't have the mental mindset to deal with it. You don't. This guy is so contradictory in every other thing that he says that it's almost laughable. I've never seen somebody be this delusional about it. And as he's writing something, be on and off and wish-washy, and then immediately say something, make a statement, then immediately contradict himself. He doesn't know what he's saying. It'd be in his best interest to just shut up, not reply back, never do anything. Survive. Loads into the game. Alex and I took that personally. Pretty much. Pretty much. Plus, finally, you're playing as a survivor. You're supposed to do anything to survive. Doesn't mean you need to be fair. Same as killer, whose goal is to kill. Doesn't matter how they do it. To an extent. Survivors cannot hold the game hostage and do things like that, obviously. Same with killer. You can't body block, or not body block, you can't face camp. Well, I mean, you can't body block with a killer as well. Like, you can't stand in a doorway and block a survivor in a room and then go and get a sandwich or something. You can't do that either. That's body blocking. Survivors can't body block, killers can't body block. Now, body blocking to save a survivor that's going to a hook is different than, you know, having a chain of survivors standing in front of a killer to, just because they can. You know, getting the killer stuck in a glitch or in a corner or something and then standing under them to where they can't move. That's not allowed. Let's see. Plus, finally, you're playing as a survivor. You're supposed to do anything to survive, or anything to a survivor. You're supposed to do anything to survive. Yes, that is true, but there are limits. You know, the decisive and everything else, dropping of pallets, you know, the regular Dead by Daylight gameplay. You are supposed to do anything to survive. But it's funny how he's going over this and saying that you're supposed to do anything to survive as a survivor, but when survivors do that, he gets mad and face camps. Ain't that funny? How he just contradicted himself again in the following statement. You're supposed to do anything in your power to survive as a survivor, but if you do, I'm just going to face camp you and break the rules or the terms of service and say, fuck it, dude. You're too good for me. I'm gonna camp you now. Doesn't mean you need to be fair. You do need to be fair. And the fair is defined by terms of service. If the terms of service states that, hey, this isn't allowed, guess what? It's not allowed. Not your delusions of fair, definitely not, but you do need to be fair. Yes, people who aren't fair are generally the ones breaking terms of service. That is fair per terms of service, not fair as in gameplay wise. Because I don't care if you tunnel one particular guy out and then camp him. I don't care. It's a strategy. As long as you're not face camping him, it's fine. I don't care if you go from generator to generator to generator, running survivors. That's fair too. I don't care. It's when you start breaking the terms of service is when I have an issue with it. So yes, you do have to be fair. Same as killer, whose goal is to kill. Doesn't matter how they do it. Does matter. Does matter how they do it. Because if you're face camping to get kills, again, you are wrong. You need to be banned. You need to get a check that, hey, you're breaking terms of service. You need to get out of here for about a day. Take some time to cool off. It does matter how you do it. You have Moris, perks, mini Moris, and a whole arsenal of tech that you can use that's within terms of service to get this done, to get your particular end goal done. Why are you face camping? Instead of face camping, why not just grab an ebony Mori? Let them off the hook, down them, and then Mori them after their second hook. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to be malicious about it, then run obsession transferring perks and transfer the obsession to that guy, and then run Rancor. So at the end, when all the generators get complete, you can just down them and Mori them. You'll get his location and everything. That is a more malicious way that is within terms of service. So instead of standing in front of him on the hook, shaking your head and acting like you're the shit for exploiting a game and breaking terms of service, which makes you just a fucking scumbag, why not actually deploy some sort of thought process to get back at this person and continue the cat and mouse game? It just needs to get done. Plus, it's all countable. Camping is so easily counterable. Yes, some camping is easily counterable. It also depends on which killer you're going up against, you know? Some killers are easy to get past that are camping, some aren't, you know? Bubba is really interesting when it comes to unhooking. Sometimes it's easy, but if you're in more, experienced Bubba, then, you gotta coordinate actions. You gotta have like the borrowed time, or somebody has to have a hit that they can take. So both of you don't just get wiped immediately afterwards. But that's also the difference between camping and face camping. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny how he says camping is easily counterable, but I guarantee you he has no videos, no logic, no meaning, no type of anything to where he has videos of him countering any type of camping situation. He's a killer main. You don't even probably know how to do that. It's just it all is just so interesting to me how delusional he is. He's just regurgitating or repeating things that he doesn't actually comprehend or understand that other people are saying, is what this is. It's just regurgitating information. Oh, camping's easily counterable. Or countable, as he said, instead of counterable. It's like, I don't know about the easily part, but there are strategies to get past any type of camping killer. But that's only if they're camping. You can take hits, etc., to get that survivor out of there. Base camping is not counterable. And I'm not talking about everybody who's like, well, it is counterable, Q. I'm not talking about the dumbasses that are standing 2 feet from the survivor, hitting them and slapping them and doing things like that. I'm talking about the people that legitimately, base camp, where they put their killer in front of the survivor so the other survivors cannot pull them from the hook. That is what I am talking about. If you put your killer right in front of the survivor in the correct spot, they cannot pull that survivor. You can sit your killer there, go to the bathroom, go make a sandwich, do whatever. When you come back, that survivor's going to be dead and gone. That's the end of it. That's why it's against terms of service, because there's no way to save that survivor. It's all easily counterable, not countable, counterable. Yet y'all whine so much on it, LMAO. Really? Really? And what about on the opposite side of that, killers that want to whine about survivors standing at the exit gates, which is still easily counterable? What about the opposite spectrum of that? Or you earlier whining about decisive strike, dead heart, sprint burst, borrowed time, unbreakable, and so on. You're contradicting yourself again, buddy. They're all easily counterable. And yet here you are, after complaining about it, trying to shame people for talking about it when you literally just made an entire paragraph on that same particular discussion. And it's like if you break apart so many of the arguments that people have and you learn, you're educated on debates, conversation, things like that, you can understand that half the shit that people say is just bullshit and you really don't even have to listen to because they'll talk themselves into a hole. He then goes on to say the decisive strike is counterable too as well. I just get overly mad at it. Why? You're the one that's initiating the decisive strike by tunneling a survivor that you just previously hooked. You're throwing a tantrum. Get it? Because he plays Bubba. You're throwing a kid tantrum when somebody is using an anti-tunnel perk against you tunneling. Go figure, if you tunnel somebody, the anti-tunneling perk comes into effect. Hmm. But I'm learning to deal with it more and more as I play. You just gotta learn to deal with it, bud. Whether you like the strat or not, it may be shitty to you, but viable to others. You obviously ain't learning to play with it, because up top, before you even said any of this, you literally said, I just face camp. It's a strat, maybe not fun to you, but viable to me. So in a debate and an argument or something like this guy would have no grounds to step on, and they would pick him apart. This is the sort of crap people look for when it comes to bigger positions like, managers, business executives, CEOs, presidents, things like that. People that think that, oh, well, so and so is just a puppet. So and so is doing this. So and so is that. Oh, well, this person's that. They don't do anything but sit on their ass and all of this every day. This person could not be a CEO because their company would absolutely positively break down. It takes education, it takes brain power, it takes temperance to be an effective supervisor, manager, or higher up. The people that got there, for the most part, are people that have done something or have proven something to actually get to that position, or just have the education to know exactly, what to do in particular situations. You need to work on yourself, brother. You have issues, and I'm not talking about just game issues. You have mental issues that you need to work on. If you're a kid, there's still hope for you. You need to quit throwing these tantrums. You probably need, I don't know, a father like figure. Now, I'm not saying a male, I'm just saying father like figure. Somebody that, by society provides discipline, things like that. Your mother could be your father like figure. Doesn't matter. It's just a term. You need a father like figure in your life to straighten you out, and then you also need therapy to get back on track. You need that. If a game is forcing you to have all of these different types of thoughts and things like this, I can only imagine what you think about people IRL or in real life or off of the internet. And I can imagine how you are on the internet. If this is triggering you and doing all of this part of a game, you're probably one of those racist Gen Z guys that, runs around, tries to start an argument, gets absolutely clapped, and then says the N word and then runs away. Probably are one of those people. This is what all of this is pointing to. But I said, for your sake, I hope you are a child so you can mature out of this. If you are an adult, seek help. Go to a therapist. Seek help. There is something not right with you. You are super delusional. Seek help. He didn't learn to deal with DS. He has learned to pick up Endurant to reduce DS stun time. I think it still works. Pretty much. Is that every perk has its countering perk and countering tech to go with it. I'd recommend he just not tunnel as hard. Honestly. If you keep running into DS, then stop tunneling the same person, you know they have it. If you're up against a Laurie Strode or any of her counterpoints, you should assume that, they're probably running that perk. You use your brain. If multiple people are in an SWF, they join in together, same console and everything, you should assume that, that perk's probably going to be viable. If it's just a bunch of solo people playing in, I mean, maybe one might hit you with it, but it's noon for me. Time to make breakfast. See ya. See ya, Galanonim. Also, Decisive Strike is on sale in the Shrine of Secrets right now. So you should be alert every time that Decisive might be a thing. At least I think it still's on sale. I don't think it resets to like Tuesday or Wednesday. So it's on sale right now. So everybody's going to be running that shit. So you should keep that also in mind that Decisive could possibly be ran a lot more because, well, people want to use the perk that they bought. So you should be on guard about your tunneling builds and maybe temporarily switch up how you play the game. I come in and I say it is a typical child response of a person trying to defend themselves when they know they did something wrong instead of owning up to it. Well, everybody else does it and doesn't get in trouble, so it's fine. It's not fine if everyone bullies one particular kid, it doesn't make it okay. I went over that. I then go through and say that base camping is 100% bannable offense. Again, do some research before you open that ignorant mouth of yours. Because now, the first time I told him was just a warning. He threw my words back at him, so I'm going to escalate it and push back. Tell him to do some research before he opens that ignorant mouth of his. Behavior has discussed this. And if you do simple research instead of a basic Google search, this lazy ass probably did, and then decided, oh, well, I'm going to fire back at him with this information that a basic Google search did instead of actually doing the research, he would know that I was completely right, and he would know what offenses fall under what categories. Base camping is listed as one of those. And if behavior decides at any point in time they want to ban somebody for it, they can, and there ain't shit that they can do about it. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier with the morality. Whether or not they elect to is irrelevant, whether or not you should do it or not. If behavior sees a face camp reports and they see them and they elected that they're not going to act on them, it doesn't mean that it's okay. That's like a little kid saying, well, if I walk up to the cookie jar and I take a cookie out when my parents are nearby and they don't stop me, I assume that it's okay. Like, no. Or you assume that it's okay to do whenever you want to. Full scenario. You walk into the kitchen and grab a cookie out of the cookie jar with your parents around, and it's not something you normally do, and your parents don't say anything to you, then you assume that it's okay, regardless, to go up to that cookie jar and do it whenever you feel like it. Now, you could have done, gotten an A on your test or something like that, or your parents just be in a good mood and they allow it to happen one time. The next time you walk in and reach your hand in the cookie jar, you get your ass tore up. Not necessarily beat, but yelled at, disciplined in some way. You get disciplined as to not going in at the cookie jar, especially not whenever you want to. They allow you to do that one offense because you had a reason to go into it, you did something good, and they didn't particularly care. They know that you know that it's wrong and not the thing to do, but it doesn't mean that you should continue to do the thing that's wrong because they let you get away with it one time. And I know a lot of friends and ex-friends and a particular female and a male that once you said it was okay to do something, they did it every time. You would be like, they'd be like, hey man, I'm thirsty. They'd be like, man, I got an orange juice in there. Go ahead and grab a cup and get some. First time they would go in and they'd do it, fine. They would leave for the day. They'd come back, 2 weeks later. Next thing I know, they're walking in my door, opening up the refrigerator, getting orange juice out, and then drinking it. And me being like, what the fuck are you doing in my refrigerator? And being like, oh man, I thought it was cool. Last time you said, like, no, motherfucker, that was last time. I gave you a one time permission to get a drink. Other than that, that's it. That don't mean every time you walk into the door, anytime you feel thirsty, you can go grab that. Not how that works. And he ended up being embarrassed and then trying to get mad at first until we got the situation settled. And he tried to throw the typical excuses like, well, if you didn't want me going in your refrigerator, then why did you give me permission to last time? It's like, dog, because you was already up and you know where the shit is. That don't mean I don't want you going through my refrigerator looking at all my shit, drinking all my shit with your dirty ass hands, especially when you just walk from outside inside. Some people don't want fucking shit, especially, if that person's a fairly nasty dude, When I gave you permission, you just, came out of the bathroom, washed your hands and shit. Or my hands were dirty at the moment and yours are cleaner. So I said, go for it. You were in a position to where it was better for you to get it instead of me, or I was busy doing something and I just don't have the time at that particular moment. Anyway, Do some research before you open that ignorant mouth of yours. Behavior has discussed this about the face camping and all that, which they have, and you can find the particular information if you look for it. um, if behavior decides to, they can ban anybody from doing it. Whether they elect to or not is irrelevant, whether you should do it or not. It's a morality thing. And if you are the type of person to do something wrong because you know you can get away with it, then accept the consequences when it fires back one day. That kid that stuck his hand in the cookie jar that second time accepted the consequences that he couldn't get away with the second time. A friend that tried to go in and get free drinks and things like that and put his dirty hands in the refrigerator accepted the consequences of me getting mad at him. And I love how egotistical people who aren't smart enough to just fix the problem they are 100% wrong about try and throw your words back at you like it means anything. I love it. Anybody that can't make an argument tries to use your argument against you. If you're that type of person, just shut the hell up and move on. You got nothing educated to say. And even if you manage to throw their argument back at them, you're not achieving anything. All you're doing is stalemating a situation. Well, I think 18 should be the legal rate because of this. Well, in Europe, the legal rate is a 16, and I'm going to throw it all back in your face. So this is why that and that. Okay, and what's next? Like, if you disprove everything that I'm saying, we're back to square zero. And what's next? What are you going to say afterwards? And most people ain't thought that far. Well, you're stupid because you like the color red, and somebody says, oh, well, I like the color blue. Who's stupid now? You are? What's next? Come on. What's next? Like, I'll say that, hey, I was wrong about assuming that you like the color red, but you're still stupid. Like, I was wrong about the color, but you ever said why you ain't stupid. What's next? Where's the rest of your argument? No? Okay, so I'm going to change my initial assessment to you're stupid because you like the color blue. Gotcha. Okay, updated my portfolio and sent. The next time I see you, I'm going to say, hey, you're stupid because you like the color blue. If you have nothing to add on to the particular argument or any type of counterclaim after you disprove their initial facts, you're not going to win an argument. And unintelligent people, dumb people, moronic people, ignorant people that can't think past the thing that's in front of you end up doing this all the time. Get smart, get educated, or don't talk at all. Because you're just going to get educated, stop making yourself look like a fool. Exactly. But it doesn't end there. He doubled down and tried to put words in my mouth about something I never discussed. No ad. Next thing you're gonna say is how using no ad makes me a shit killer too, I'm guessing, eh? Really? Really? You try to put words in my mouth about something that was never discussed. And you're trying to, first, you tried to victimize yourself, and then you tried to villainize me. So you protected the streamer, then you tried to victimize yourself, saying, oh no, what was me? And now you're trying to villainize me. I literally said face camping is against terms of service. That's it. Stop playing the victim and just say, my bad, I didn't know, and moved on. No act like every other perk killer, etc. But hey, thanks for the short videos. It actually ended my statement, and I'm kind of mad about that. Did I run out of space? No act like every other perk killer, etc. As its uses. I'll just shorten it. Yeah. No ad like every other perk killer, etc. has its uses. But hey, thanks for the short videos. And you know what? XOXOXO. Hugs and kisses, mate. Hugs and kisses. And I'm not thanking the original creator for the short videos. I'm thanking this guy for giving me content to go off of. Thank you for being a stupid idiot that I could exploit for content. Mwah. I love it. Keep it up, dummy. Because if there weren't idiots like you that bandwagoned everything, content creators couldn't get anywhere in life. Thank you for being stupid and not having your own opinion and just going with the flow. Very good content. Mm. Mm. And it's funny how if you look at this and you're intimidated by a lot of writing and things like this, just having a very big paragraph can cause a lot of people to break and shut down. They will immediately give up a fight because they don't want to put forth the brain effort to actually fight back. And it's funny. But if you take what they say and you break it apart, especially if they're using derogatories, as soon as they start using derogatories, generally shit starts going downhill. You didn't know people use derogatories when they didn't think of anything else to say. I do it too. Everybody does it. You would use some sort of substitute word, whether it's or derogatory or something like that, or derogative, or derogatory word, statement, etc., etc. People will deflect with those words to try and buy themselves more time. Because if you don't say when you're in a conversation or something like that, the other person might interrupt you. So you're just trying to fill in the gap with I'm thinking about what to say. So you say or if you can't think of a word, you say a profanity or something in place of that word. It happens. But once the profanity starts slipping and all of that, generally anything past that profanity, it's all going to start going downhill unless they can bring it back. They're trained to bring things back. From the start, he keeps talking about shitty killers and things like that. Nobody said anybody was a shitty killer. Nobody makes me a shit killer. Nobody said anything about anybody being a shit killer. Nobody knows anybody I know. Didn't know if they're a shit killer or not. We're talking about shitty gameplay and shameful gameplay. The things that we're focusing on now. This guy is so delusional and has his head so high in the clouds that it just absolutely positively baffles me. Video done. Eh. we'll just cancel it. If he takes the hint and goes to my live stream to hear himself get absolutely dumped on, that's on him. If he doesn't, it is what it is. I hope he does come in. Because I know you can be a cool guy, dude. But the way you talk to people, the way you insinuate things that people aren't trying to insinuate, the paranoia of, well, you think I'm a shit killer, all of that. Something's happened in your life that has mentally fucked you, brother. You need to get help. You really do. Where did this NOAD talk and trying to call, somebody, you will call yourself a shitty killer? Why are you calling yourself a shitty killer? Why are you just face camping people? Why are you having this anger that comes with the decisive strike? And another important part, why are you telling people online that you have all of these issues going on? Why are you telling people online? Tell somebody that's close to you that maybe you have anger management issues and things like that. I'm not going to give you a therapy session because you ain't paying me, son. And I'm not going to do that shit for free. I do this shit already and I give lectures and things like that for money. I ain't going to help you. The only advice I'm going to tell you is you do need help and you do need to talk to somebody. Not a friend. You need to talk to a therapist. There is something going on and there is something wrong with you. If you are a kid, you can say fuck it and try to grow out of it. But keep in mind, when you get older, if you don't grow out of it and that shit sticks with you and these mental delusional problems you're having sticks with you, you've been warned by somebody and you elect to not act upon that particular situation. So you can only blame yourself for a fucked up life that you're going to have from this point on. I hope you turn out a good dude, and I hope you mature up in time. If you're a kid, which that's what I'm going to assume you are. And if you ain't a kid, then God help you. So I guess you can easily find out if somebody's a kid if you just do this. Joined April 29, 2018. It's a kid. They joined in 2018. Only got 8 subscribers. It's a kid. Definitely going off of that. You can tell that I'm a little bit older and I don't think I can get to my about. What if I open up an incognito goddamn video? So you click in the about. I joined YouTube way back in 2012. This is back when I was in college, I think. Yeah, this is back during the time I was in college. 2012. So you can tell just by that, I am quite the older individual. Generally, people don't make YouTube accounts till they're, older. I mean, yeah, I guess there are kid accounts and things like that, but if you look, I have a description, a whole bunch of other bullshit, joined 2012, etc., etc. You can tell that I'm a little bit older. And no, it's not saying much, but because my account's older, you know that, I'm not some 13-year-old kid. You could probably assume I'm like 16 to 18-ish or a little bit higher, but I'm not a real young kid. Also, whoever's name up there, But when I was typing in YouTube, I exposed. I am sorry. Let me type this in again. Oh, no, never mind. I thought I exposed somebody. No, never mind. We're good, we're good, we're good, we're good. Because I was like, I thought I exposed one of my friends, and I was like, shit. No, we're good. Uh, 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 um, cool. I didn't even know incognito kept the search history. What's the point of having incognito if it keeps your search history? Alright, well, it's already been 2 hours, so thank you anybody for stopping by. If that dude stops by, just do better, dude. Just do better. There's nothing wrong with owning up to your mistakes, and you will get a lot more respect if you say, hey guys, I know, I was wrong, and move on about it. Or if there's a misunderstanding and say, oh, I was talking about camping instead of face camping. If there is a general misunderstanding, don't try to protect your ego and try to deflect by saying, well, I was talking about camping this entire time, not face camping, because you specifically say face camping. Don't be the scumbag that tries to avoid even more of an issue. If there's some misunderstandings or something, just talk to people about it. You don't need to keep pushing and try to throw things back at other people, especially the person that knows they're 100% right, being me in this case. I do Dead by Daylight creation reviews. I do a lot of reviews and a lot of psychological work, etc., etc. For a living. I have to be informed about everything that I do. I'm informed, so other people don't have to be informed. Now, I'm not 100% on everything that I know, but if I don't know a particular thing, I generally try to give an estimation and let people know that I don't know. But I'm telling you, base camping is 100% confirmed against terms of service. You don't have to look this up. You don't have to go out of your way and trying to prove me wrong because you're not going to be able to. Just accept it. Move on. You don't even have to comment on the video. You don't have to reply back in the post. Because every time you reply back, I'm going to push you harder and harder and harder because you keep pushing back. Every time you push me, I'm going to push you 2 or 3 times as hard. And then, once I get you interested and wanting to fight back with me and all of that, I'm going to state the beginning statement that I said before, and then I'm going to immediately cut off communication with you, leaving you with a very deep, dreadful sense of feeling. You will get no attention, you will get nothing. I will not argue with you, I will not do anything. I will prove my point right, and then I will disregard you. I piss people off a lot of times. Because they want to have this long, drawn out argument and do all of this other stuff, because that's the thing to do nowadays, is argue with each other. And I just ignore them. And they get pissed off and they walk away huffing and puffing and all of that. Like, I'm not going to get into this screaming argument and all of that. I'm too old for this shit. You got one more comment coming back for me saying that I am 100% correct. We'll look it up. And then I'm done. And if you keep pushing, I'll just block you and move on with my life. I don't need to be justified by you that I'm right. I don't have any ego problems. At least not when it comes to things like that. I don't need to have an ego problem because I know I'm right. I've looked this up multiple times. So I'm spreading the word and I'm GTFOing. I may or may not have any type of content because this has gone on for like 2 hours and 15 minutes. I may or may not do a Dead by Daylight creation review in the afternoon. But we shall see. So, thank you anybody for stopping by. As always, supplement your lifestyle, especially if the other guy does manage to make it to the end of this. Supplement your lifestyle with something. If you don't want to seek help in person, try to go to a forum group for support or get online I guess it's telehealth nowadays, or telepsychologist, or whatever the hell it's called. I don't know. Go through the telesystem where you can talk to somebody online. Some are free, some aren't. Talk to somebody, a counselor, group therapy, forum, anger management, forum group, anything that can help you out and feeling or help you out and what you are feeling. There are sources at which you can get help. Look for them. Just don't rely on your friends to help you get through something because they aren't going to fucking help you. They can give you all the love and support that you could try and hope for, but they're not going to give you the thing that you need. Seek help in different areas. Supplement your lifestyle, guys. Supplement your lifestyle. And hopefully, I'll see you next time.